Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome to my game room tour video. I promised this for long enough, so I thought I'd finally get my finger out my arse and get around to filming it. Finally got the room to a point where I'm happy-ish with it. It's tidy enough, and that's the main thing. I'm a big fan of keeping things tidy. Before I start this video though, I'd just like to dedicate it to a fellow YouTuber. He's actually my first sort of friend on YouTube. He gave me some fantastic words of encouragement to start with. His channel's name is Tygon V Liger. I hope I'm saying that right. AKA Trevor. Trevor's a Sega Saturn man. He also has Dreamcast and various other Sega systems. Top bloke, Trevor. Not only did he give me some words of encouragement to start with, but he also gave me some advice on how to make my first video, which was my Sonic car review. So without him I probably wouldn't be on YouTube. So if you're a fan of this video, if you like this video, please pop across to Trevor's channel, give him a thumbs up, tell him he's a top bloke and that, and if you haven't subbed already, give him a sub. He's not been making much videos lately, but he'll be back with a bang in the future. So anyway, enough waffling, I'll crack on. I'll try and keep the camera as steady as I can. I know it's pretty hard, I'm using my phone, so it's not ideal. But I'll give you a quick pan of the room. It's a couple of bookcases. Got my consoles down the bottom there. A few more bookcases. And then I'll start. As you come in the door here, it's a lovely 80s inspired door there. That will be getting binned sooner rather than later. But anyway, as you come in the door, just to the right of the door is my PlayStation games. Keep these in my little cabinet here. Love the PlayStation. I was a Sega Saturn man back in the day, but I must admit the PlayStation had some fantastic games. A lot of my mates had the PlayStation, so I kind of fell into it under pressure. But all these games have cost me between 50p and £1. In fact, the majority, if I would say 99% of the games in my room have cost me less than £3. I'm very much a budget gamer through and through. It's the Scottish in me. Got a few good titles for the PlayStation. Smackdowns, I love the Smackdown games. Resident Evils. Parasite Eve 2 is pretty good. Motor Racer is a great racing game. I'm quite picky. I do find quite a few PlayStation games out in the wild, but I'm quite picky to what I pick up. Just quickly there, if you could see that. That's a cool board too. That's a homemade PlayStation box. Back in the day when I was a teenager, we thought it was pretty cool to make our own PlayStation boxes for some unknown reason. Next to that is my Amiga games. I keep these in these little boxes. A lot of them are copies, as most Amiga games are, but there's a few originals in there. And next to that is my guitars for Guitar Hero and whatnot. Next to my PlayStation games is my MAME cabinet. Apologise if it looks a little yellow, I've got the low light thing on the camera. Built this MAME cabinet myself, I'm pretty happy with it. If I had to do it again though, I would change the buttons. This was just a control stick that I had lying around for the PlayStation 2. It also had a USB adapter on it. So I thought if I used that, I could not only use it for my MAME, but I could also keep it and use it for my PlayStation 2. But I would put genuine buttons in if I'd done it again, because they're very cheap. You probably get a full set for about 30 quid. And it just makes it look a lot better. But very happy, as I say. This has probably cost me around £35 to build in total, but on my lunch breaks at my work, painted it and that myself. So yeah, so that's my MAME cabinet. Above that is my Steel Battalion. Fantastic game. This is the second release, unfortunately. It's got the red sort of print on it. The original had green, so it's not quite as uncommon, but it's a fantastic game. I recommend it to anyone. Everyone should at least try it in their life, I think. It's the controller is phenomenal, it really is immense. Above that is my Halo head. don't actually know what that's for. I think it's from Halo 3, but I could be wrong. I got that given to me from my brother-in-law just for free. He was throwing it out. Next to that is my Dreamcast steering wheel, and this is a PlayStation and Saturn wheel. I dreamed of owning this as a child. It's got the gear knob and the pedals and whatnot, and I think it was £65 back in the day. And when I won it for £1 off eBay, I was super excited, but to be fair, it is utter junk, unfortunately. Next to that is my Sega shelf, well, one of my Sega shelves. On top of the bookcase is my Commodore Amiga 500 in the box. I bought two Amigas a few months ago, a 500 and a 1200. I got them both at car boot sales for £15 for the pair, plus all those games you saw. It's quite a bargain. Next to that is my 50 subs competition winner mug that I got from Evo Haler. Cheers for that, Giles, sitting pretty on my shelf there. My Mega Drive games, I've got around 60, nothing spectacular. Comic Zone's one of my favourites. Cannon Fodder is fantastic. Dragon's Fury there, it's a great pinball game. These have all cost me roughly £1. I picked them up from car boot sales and whatnot. The thing I really like about the Mega Drive is not only is there some great games, but there's some horrendous games. Like this one here, Sword of Sudan, one of my favourite games to play. It really is a dreadful game, but I really enjoy playing it. I do quite like the Mega Drive. I'm kind of hoping to have maybe 100 titles in total. A lot of it's just the more common games, but I think 100 is kind of a good amount to have. Next to my Mega Drive games is my Mega CD games. I've got around 12 of them. Road Avenger there, it's my favourite game. It's a fantastic game, really good fun. All my Mega CD games have cost me £1 off eBay for them all £1 auctions. A few titles that I'm surprised to get. Ground Zero Texas, I've seen that go for £8 and £9, and Self-Feed, I've seen that go for sometimes £10. But a really good game. I like the Mega CD. People obviously slate it, but I think like with many consoles people slate it, there are great games on it. Next to that is a few loose Master System games. I don't like to pick up Master System games loose, but I think they've came in a bundle. And then my Master System games, I've got 100 Master System games at the moment. I don't think I'll go for a full set. I don't really want to buy all the sports games and whatnot, but I definitely hope to buy a lot more. Master System was my very first system, besides the Commodore 64 and Spectrum and whatnot, so I've got a lot of fun memories for the Master System. But yeah, so that's the Master System. Sorry, keep it a bit steady now. Next to that is my GameCube games in between my bookcases here. I like the GameCube. Nothing spectacular. I'm not really sure if you could probably see those. Try and not make it too wobbly. All of these I've had since back in the day. I bought most of them from GameStation for £1. I think what a lot of people forget is the GameCube was a very undesirable console at one time. You couldn't give them away. So GameStation, when they were selling all their Xbox and PS2 games and that, I got a lot of the GameCube games for £1, including, if you can make that out, The Legend of Zelda: The Master's Quest. Quite happy with that. Right, next to that is my Wii games. In fact, quickly up the top I'll just show you my boxes. Just a few of my boxes for my systems. Neo Geo CD, Neo Geo Pocket up there. My Nintendo box, my NES box, that's got slightly damaged in my move, which I was almost in tears about. Right at the end there, Ready Player One, a fantastic book. I'm not much of a novel man, but it's really worth reading that if you're a fan of retro games or retro culture in general. Really good. Right, in fact, hold on, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just get rid of this. This is my gaming chair. This is where I sit, around the back of my gaming chair. I have a box that's got all my controllers and whatnot in it, but it's in the way for now, so I'll just get rid of that. Right, Wii games. My Wii is probably my third favourite system. I absolutely love the Wii. It gets terrible press. I think what people forget about the Wii is nobody ever said that it is as good as 360 or the PS3 or things like that, but there's a few fantastic games. In fact, every game I have is a belter, in my opinion. But I will do a collection tour. There's the Metroid Prime trilogy. It's an expensive game that. It goes for about £50. Yeah, really, really great games on the Wii. I highly recommend digging one out. Everyone's got a Wii. Every mum, dad, gran has got a Wii, so get a shot of one. Dig out some classic Xenoblade Chronicles. Great game. Got that cheap. Few tiny collection of SNES games. Nothing special. Most of these are from when I had the SNES back in the day. Still got, it's the original SNES I've got from when I was a young boy. Bit Super Mario World and that. I've lost a few though, a few belters. Sunset Riders, I can't seem to find that anywhere. Mario All Stars, all the Donkey Kongs. Got Donkey Kong Country, but I had 2 and 3. Fuck those where they went. So, below that is my Dreamcast collection. About 140 Dreamcast games. Favourite system, the Dreamcast. Again, I've had almost a full set at one time, but I've sold a lot of them off over the years, and what I've got now I'm pretty happy with. I feel like I've got most of the good games. I'll try and go a bit slower actually because it's looking a bit fuzzy. Shenmue, a funny story about Shenmue was I sold my original Shenmue and I managed to pick that up cheap. I think I got that from GameStation as well for £1. But when I got home it actually had the Shenmue 2 discs inside of it. So I don't have a Shenmue 2 box, but it's got all the discs for some reason. A few more there. There's a couple of my Japanese Dreamcast games. Guilty Gear X, great game. Fire Pro Wrestling. Again, I've won all them for £1. Sega Smash Pack there, it's quite a good pack to buy. And there's quite an uncommon game there, it's Cosmic Smash. Got that for £1 a few years ago. I don't think anyone knew quite what it was back then. It goes for about £40 now. Really, it's sort of a cross between Virtual Tennis and Breakout, I suppose. Quite a fun game. Next to that, sorry it's a bit dark, I've got my Neo Geo Pocket games. These are just some custom cases that I've made from the cover project in DS boxes. Really enjoy the Neo Geo Pocket, great little system. Unfortunately there's not that many games for it, I'm only after a couple more. Next to that is my 3 lonely little Neo Geo CD games. I plan to rectify that in the new year though, hoping to get quite a large collection of Neo Geo CD games. There's a few that I'm desperately wanting. The bottom shelf, if you could see, is my pitiful Sega Saturn collection. I've said before, I really struggle to buy Saturn games because they're so expensive. I've owned them all before and I just can't seem to bring myself to spend the money. There's a few great ones here. Crime Waves, it's a really good game. Crusader, No Remorse, one of my favourites. Last Bronx, gift from my buddy Craig. Cheers, Minx. Olympic Soccer, it's actually my favourite football game. It's a fantastic game. It looked dreadful even back in the day, but it's a lot of fun. Robotica, it's a game I actually kind of feel sorry for. It looks beautiful. It's a first person shooter. It's just so boring. I can't believe how dark it is down here. Next to that, if you can make them out, is my Atari Jaguar games. I've got around 7 Jaguar games. Again, I love the Atari Jaguar. Fantastic system. It gets a lot of bad press. but there's good games for everything. Power Drive Rally is one of my favourites. Very, very, very fond of that game. Next to that is a few Atari Lynx games. A few loose carts there. I love the Atari Lynx again. I love everything really. I'm just full of man love for all my consoles. But I'm seriously thinking about maybe spending next year focusing on the Lynx, because it won't be too long until the games start going up in price. I've noticed that there's less and less brand new sealed boxes versions of Lynx games appearing on eBay. So I think I might just bite the bullet and try and get a full system. Not so much a full collection, but definitely a lot more games than I have. Right, next to all my Wii games, it's my PlayStation 2 games. Again, I never had a PS2 back in the day. Kind of feel I was pissed off at Sony for ruining my Dreamcast. I never really forgave them. But I must admit the PlayStation 2 is a phenomenal system. It's got so many great games on it. I've actually just up there, Jak 3. It's one of the latest games I've bought. And I've just been playing that non-stop. I've never played any of the Jak and Daxter games. But that's fantastic. A quick pan. I've got a few good ones, like Project Zero 2 and whatnot. All my PS2 games have cost me 50 pence. Bought them all from Cash Generator. I've always tried to go for quality over quantity though. I mean, I've got 150 PS2 games, so it might kind of seem contradicting myself, but all the games I've got are games I've wanted to play. A couple doubles that I need to get rid of. I'd prefer to get them for the Xbox if I can. But yeah, there's like Shadow of Rome there. That is a fantastic game, Capcom. It's really, really good. It's one of the original Taito Legends. Really, really good system, the PS2. But everybody already knows that. Next to that is my PC Engine games. I bought a PC Engine earlier this year, and it is, without a word of a lie, one of my favourite systems. It is a fantastic system. I've got around 50 PC Engine games. These are all just custom boxes that I've made from the cover project. I do hope to put all my games, all my loose hue cards into boxes. That's what these are for, these empty boxes. They actually house copied Saturn games at the moment. But yeah, I really, really love the PC Engine. It's a few great for shooters and that. I've got the Final Soldiers and things like that. And one of my favourites there, Bloody Wolf. One of the best games on the PC Engine. Great, great game. But yeah, so PC Engine, I'd highly recommend that for anyone. They're pretty cheap. You pick them up for under 100 quid. Definitely worth it. Below that, if you can make it out, is my N64 games. I've got about 86 N64 games. Not that great to look at since, pardon me, since it's all just loose carts. I do plan to make my N64 games into all these style boxes, like Ridge Racer. They're just large DVD boxes. So I do plan to do that over the next few months. But again, underrated system, the N64. I think people think it has aged badly. It probably has, to be honest, out of all the systems. But that doesn't mean to say that the games aren't worth playing. Fantastic games. GoldenEye there, one of my favourites. I still play it as much today as I did back then. I'll probably play through GoldenEye, single player of GoldenEye at least once a month, but usually every couple of weeks. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Right, next to that is my 3DO games. Again, I love the 3DO. On top of that is my infrared controllers. They're actually quite hard to find apparently. I got that when I bought my 3DO 6-button pads, which is handy for Street Fighter. Everybody knows there's a great version of Street Fighter on the 3DO. Few good games, in fact there's loads of great games on the 3DO. I've got around 50. apart from Doom. Doom's a terrible version, don't buy that. Crash and Burn, really good game. Escape from Monster Manor. Gex, original system it appeared on. Need for Speeds, PGA Tour Golf. A couple of the big boxes there. Demolition Man, Road Rash. Games I got from Hygiene76. Cheers for them, Neil. Star Blaze, good games. Slayer, that's actually a really fun game. It's sort of like a Skyrim style game, but made 20 odd years ago. Super Street Fighter 2. Fantastic version. One of the best of its time. Space Hulk, and there's a fun game. If you see that, Way of the Warrior. That was Naughty Dog's first game. Thankfully they went on to bigger and better things. Wing Commander. That's one of my favourites there as well. That's a fantastic. It's not so much a great game. It's just a great experience. It's a FMV style interactive game, but it's fantastic. So I'll just jump to my next side now. Up the top there I've got my fishing controller for my Dreamcast. Light gun, Dream Blaster for the Dreamcast for House of the Dead 2, that's essential. My Lethal Enforcers pack for the Mega CD, I won that for £4 off eBay. Delivered, surprised the guy sent it out. Couple VMUs, that one's actually in my controller. Virtual Cop gun. Great games, Virtual Cop 1 and 2. That was my original gun actually from back in the day. Don't know why I kept that, I got rid of everything else. And my bulk of my collection is my Xbox. I've got just under 400 Xbox games. Really love the Xbox. It may seem like a lot of games, but I've collected the Xbox since 2001 really, since it came out. A lot of these I got for free. My sister used to be a manager of Game here in Britain, and as everyone knows, when the 360 came out, the Xbox was just abandoned. So they were told eventually just to sell off all their games for cheap, and if not, just to bin them. So I got a lot of games, like 50 games for free, because they were all just going in the bin, which is pretty tragic. Few rare games for the Xbox, or not a lot of people know that rare games exist for it. There's one, Gene Troopers, one of the very last games ever made. Very hard to find. Let's have a look. A few other ones. I mean, there's so many. I don't think there's a bad game for the Xbox, to be honest. Incredible Hulk. That's probably my choice of games for the Xbox. It is one of my favourite games of all time, but it's just so much fun. Great when you've had a bad day from work, come home, you get to beat the fuck out of some folk. It's got all the King of Fighters, and that King of Fighters came out on the original Xbox. Marvel vs Capcom 2. There's a few more of the Metal Slugs, great versions on the Xbox. Ninja Gaiden. Operation Winback, that's quite a hard one to find. That's actually the sequel to the N64 game. Really enjoyed the N64 version. The Xbox one's not quite as good. Otoges, they're great games. If you can see down here, there's Painkiller. That's one of the hardest games to find. I'll quickly show you that. That was one of the last games to ever come out for the Xbox. Not a lot of people know it exists. I will do sort of not a hidden gems video for the Xbox, but a lot of games I feel deserve more attention. Like Room Zoom. People say that is the hardest one to find. It was made obviously by a budget company, Jellicoe, but it was made in such small numbers, and it came out very late on in the Xbox life. One of the very last games. Actually quite a fun game. It's like a Micro Machines style game, but it's kind of unfinished, to be honest. This was Steel Battalions, all Splinter Cells. And then up here, few more. Silent Hill. Another Silent Hill game. Hope this is turning out alright, guys. It might be a bit fuzzy and hope I didn't make anybody sick. There's a few more. There you go, there's another rare game for you. Get that on your shopping list. Xylin Showdown. Sort of like a Power Stone style game. Came out on the PS2 as well, but never sold very well on the Xbox at all, being one of the last games. But I'm not finished with my Xbox yet. Got around, I don't know, 50, maybe 100 more games I want for it. But I'm in no great rush. I'll just keep buying them whenever I see them. Again, they've all cost me between 50p and £1. Very few have cost me £1. Some of the rarer ones. But yeah, very, very, very happy with my Xbox collection. Look at that. Sticker's still on the edge. Tut tut tut. Up the top, I've got my Cabela's Survival Shadows of Katmai. That's for the Wii. It's a pretty poor game, but the gun accessory you get with it is pretty awesome. Fantastic DVD there, The King of Kong. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the story of two guys that want to beat the Donkey Kong record. It's really, really good fun film. A lot of it does look like it's kind of staged, but it's pretty fun nonetheless. There's my DJ Hero 2 for the Wii. That was £12.99. I took it up to the counter and it ended up being £6. It was brand new in its box, so pretty happy with that. In between my two my bookcases for Xbox games, my PSP games, I've got about 50, not if I tell a lie, about 40 PSP games. Really like the PSP, a great time to buy for it. It's games are pretty cheap and they're fun to play, although I do struggle to play the PSP for any length of time. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, they're a great game. WWE All Stars, so another great wrestling game. Copy of Sega Rally there. I do struggle to play the PSP for any length of time. My hand tends to cramp up, which is a shame. But right at the very bottom there, Arcade Classics SNK Volume 1, essential game. It's fantastic to play some Neo Geo games on the move. Obviously before they made the Neo Geo X. Right, getting out of breath here. Right, below my Xbox games, just a wee shelf where I keep all my handhelds. Got my PSP, my Atari Lynx, my Neo Geo Pocket, Game Boy Advance and my DS, well my mother-in-law's DS. And a few steel boxes, steel tins that I've got for the Xbox, Brothers in Arms, Halo 2 and Doom 3. A funny story about this was when I bought this back in the day, I actually thought it was the game. It turns out it's just some promotional DVD and the game's not actually included. Luckily I never paid much money for it. And below that, a small selection of Nintendo stuff. I've got a few DS games. Again, nothing special. I do struggle to play the DS. I can't seem to get into the games at all for some reason. Hopefully in the new year I'll remedy that. A few Game Boy Advance games that I've boxed, again just with some custom covers. Super Mario Advance and things like that. All these DS games actually I got from my local game. I just went in, I know the manager there. I just asked him if he had any empty display cases. And I gave him, I think I slipped him a £5 or something. And he gave me like 50. So, pretty nice of him. A bit of Metal Slug there, one of my favourite games for the Advance. A few loose carts. A few genuine box games. Sonic Games are great on it. Medal of Honor, really, really good game for the Game Boy Advance. Fantastic, one of my favourites in fact. And there's a great Punch Out clone, Wade Hickston's Counter Punch. Fantastic game, pick that up, that's pretty cheap. My two lonely little Game Boy games, Kirby's Dream Land and Super Mario Land 2. That's my favourite Mario game. Oh, bollocks. That's my favourite Mario game. I think that's generally better than Mario 64. but that's just me, I'm a nutter. Next to that is a Super Game Boy I got for free from my Game Links haul of Retro Shop in Glasgow. A few loose DS games, and this is a bootleg Game Boy Color cart that was meant to have 21 games on it, but it's got 4 games, like 5 times, so I got bumped with that. It's my small collection of NES games. These are all thanks to Tootie UK. Cheers for them, Stu. Bought them off Stuart. Again, they've all been pretty cheap, keep under my £3 budget, including Ninja Gaiden there. Got that for £2.50 just a few weeks ago, pretty proud of that. So my NES games I'm just going for, I've mentioned before, but I'm just going for 20 in total. Just trying to pick either the best games or the games that I enjoy playing. A good example of that is Double Dragon 2. I've got this off of Stuart and I absolutely love this game. I must have put 20 hours into this game already. Really love it. I don't know why. Below that, just a few wee odds and ends. Got a couple of controllers for Mega Drive, Master System. Some lubricant there. You can never have too much lubricant. That is a Lynx battery pack, so you can play your Lynx on the go. I'm going to do a video about that. It's pretty good. Here's my knuckle duster. Anybody comes round gives me any grief, smack him in the face with that. This was actually made by a friend of mine. He has seen a bit of action there. He started as like a fabricator, an apprentice, a similar time to when I started my trade, and he made that for me, so happy with that. Nice little thing here is Power Drift. This is for the Amiga. I wasn't planning on buying any Amiga games, but I saw that for £1 on eBay. One of my favourite games, Power Drift. So, and to be fair, it looks nice, but it's pretty hard to play, unfortunately, on Amiga. Down below that is just a few magazines. Try and get this camera down here a bit. A few magazines, a few of my retro gamers, a couple of Dreamcast magazines. I don't tend to try and keep my magazines now. I do regret getting rid of my Sega Saturn magazines back in the day. But magazines could just, I mean, I love reading old magazines, but they just take up so much space. Official Jaguar Gamers thing there. And here's some of my Beatles albums. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I'm a huge Beatles fan. I've got all my CDs and DVDs in another room. That's another thing I love to collect. I've got over, I don't know, 900 DVDs. And God knows how many CDs. This is my latest purchase. A Maverick 1 Turbo Fire joystick. That's for the Amigas. Also works on the Genesis and whatnot. Get back in there. There's just a couple loose, well, boxed Amiga games that I got in my collection. So that's pretty much it for the games. I'll just give you another quick pan. I think I'll probably stop it here and I'll just do another quick video for my systems, just so it's not going on too long. It's already went off for 30 minutes, so if you sat and watched through it all, good for you. Right guys, so I'll stop it here and quickly show you my systems next.